Okay, here's a wild thought. What if the universe, all of it, isn't really out there at all? What if it's actually being generated from right inside our own minds? It sounds like science fiction, I know, but today we're diving into a really fascinating framework that suggests exactly that. It's called the Unified Reality Model.
You look up at the night sky and you see these enormous swirling galaxies, right? And then you think about the quantum world, this bizarre, tiny realm of particles popping in and out of existence. They seem like two completely different worlds. But what if they're not? What if there's some kind of hidden pattern, a secret thread connecting them all? That's the big question this model tackles. Is there a single, unified blueprint that links the massive scale of the cosmos with the intricate world inside our own heads?
And the answer this model gives? Well, it's pretty radical. It basically takes everything we think we know about reality and just flips it completely upside down. The idea is that the world you see, feel, and touch, it's not really out there. It's being generated from in here. And yeah, that's the central idea we're going to dig into.
All right, so you're probably asking, how on earth is that even possible? Well, think of it like this. The model treats reality itself as a kind of giant universal operating system. And like any OS, it has two parts. The physical structure, which is like the hardware, and then there's our mind, which is the software. And the coolest part? We can actually learn to understand this system and maybe even program it. Okay, so the whole thing is built on this really fundamental idea. Consciousness isn't some random fluke of evolution. Instead, the model suggests there's something called a universal mind. You can think of it as a single foundational intelligence that's the source of literally everything. And here's where it gets personal. You, me, every single one of us, we're like individual expressions of that universal intelligence. That means we all have this built-in power to influence and create our own reality.
So, let's talk about the hardware of this cosmic computer. What does it actually look like? Well, this is where the model gets into physics, and it proposes that there's one single repeating geometric pattern that forms the basis for, well, everything.
And once you start looking for it, you see this pattern everywhere. Seriously, the spiral of a galaxy, the swirl of water going down a drain, a hurricane, even the double helix of your own DNA. It's all based on this rotational vortex-like geometry. Now, the model says this is no accident. It's not a coincidence. It's the signature of a single universal blueprint for reality itself.
So if you take that spiral motion and look at it as a whole complete system, what shape do you get? You get a torus, which, basically looks like a donut. And this donut shape, according to the model, is the fundamental engine of the universe. It's how energy and information flow in a continuous, self-sustaining loop, connecting everything, past, present, and future.
Okay, get ready for the mind-blowing part. Here's the crucial link. That cosmic hardware, that same torus shape we see in galaxies, the model says it's not just out there, it's also in here, inside our brains. It suggests our brain has its own toroidal field that acts like a receiver, a little antenna, allowing our consciousness to tap directly into the information flowing through the universe. Now, to make sure this doesn't sound like pure fantasy, the model actually ties into some pretty advanced physics, specifically M-theory. Look, I'm not going to pretend to be a string theorist, but the simple version is that M-theory suggests our universe might just be one slice, they call it a brain, in a much bigger 11-dimensional reality. Why does that matter? Because it means there could be all sorts of information and energy existing just outside our normal perception.
All right, so we've got the cosmic hardware, but what about the software that runs on it? Well, according to this model, that software is us. It's our own mind. And this is the point where we stop being just passive observers watching the universe happen, and we start becoming the architects. So this framework doesn't just see you as a user of this reality OS. No, you're the programmer. Your brain is the biocomputer, and your consciousness is the processor. You're constantly pulling in data, updating your own internal belief systems, and through that process, you are literally shaping the reality you experience moment by moment. So for programmers, what's our coding language? Well, the model points to stuff from neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. Take this concept called nominalization. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. It's when we turn an action into a thing. For example, instead of saying, I am deciding, which is an active process, we say, I made a decision. Suddenly, the decision is this big, heavy, solid thing. By changing our language back to actions, I am deciding, we make it fluid again, something we're in control of. Our words literally become the code we use to rewrite our reality.
And the key mechanism for this reprogramming is what's called the habit identity loop. Check this out. The model says real change, the kind that sticks, isn't about just trying to change a behavior, it's about changing your identity. It works like this. Your thoughts lead to your behaviors. You repeat those behaviors, they become habits, and those habits reinforce a certain identity. Once that identity is set, it starts shaping your thoughts automatically. It's a complete feedback loop.
So, what's the root command? What's the master key for our mental software? It's that simple, powerful feeling of I am. Just that core awareness of being. The model claims that when you really focus on that feeling, you cut through all the noise of your ego and connect straight to the creative engine of that universal mind we talked about earlier.
Okay, this is where things get really ambitious. If one person can reprogram their own reality, imagine what happens when a whole bunch of people start doing it together. This is where the model explodes from a personal development tool into a blueprint for redesigning the entire world.
And this grand vision isn't just a vague idea. It's structured in 4 very clear escalating levels. It starts small, at the personal level, with a philosophy for individual change. Then it scales up to a business platform for practical solutions. The next step is a vision for global automated systems. And finally, the moonshot goal, large-scale engineering projects, like terraforming. And the core of this whole grand plan is, well, it's a really incredible goal, to create a world without scarcity. The idea is to build global, fully automated networks that can produce and distribute all the basic necessities. We're talking food, water, housing, to every single person on the planet. I mean, can you imagine? It's about ending poverty at its source.
And how would they pull this off? The technology behind it is called cyber-physical systems. Just picture this, a massive, interconnected network of smart sensors, swarms of intelligent machines, all constantly communicating and working together. It would be a totally self-organizing, self-healing ecosystem for making and moving everything we need.
And that brings us right back to where we started. This diagram here is from the famous physicist Roger Penrose. He talks about 3 interconnected worlds. You've got the pure, perfect world of mathematics and ideas, the physical world that we all live in, and the mental world of our own consciousness.
In looking at that, this whole model leaves us with one final really provocative question. What if our consciousness isn't just a byproduct of the physical world? What if it's the actual bridge connecting the world of pure ideas to the physical universe? What if we really, truly are the architects of our own reality?